Hello everyone, welcome to What If Issei Awaken his sacred gear early and become the Emperor of Domination Part 2. Before we start, please go support Lady Crizzle for writing that awesome fanfic. Now let's begin. Chapter 8. Their victory. Azazel sat on the couch with a cigarette in hand, he's sitting there like he owns the place. Not like Issei minds. Issei, your training just ended yesterday, seems like you're very eager to go back. Azazel showed his signature smirk. Well, I do miss them, you know, and I've been gone for far too long already. Issei awkwardly rubs his nape. Azazel thought his training will exceed till a month, but Issei finished for exactly 20 days, and tonight will be the time for him to face his battle. For the rest of the day, all he did was relax with Tannen. They talked about what they wanted for the future and get to know each other better. Thanks for everything, Tannen-sensei. No problem, kid. That strict dragon isn't so bad, and it was fun while it lasted, Issei thought to himself. Now, he is lying on his bed with magic restraints. Remember, that time runs differently there, so be fast about it. Azazel said with the most serious face he could muster. I understand, thank you Azazel and Graphius-san. He gave them one last grin before closing his eyes. When he opened his eyes, he is in the occult research club room, with everyone there with him. The president, Akeno, Kiba, Kaneko and Asia are all present and there are food placed on the table. Welcome back, Issei, they all said at the same time. Asia and Akeno were the first one to go to him, giving him a hug, followed by Kaneko and Kiba. While their club president stood at the sidelines with a smile. They celebrated Issei's return, and then he eventually forgot what he's supposed to do and that nothing is real here. He ate and laughed with them, telling them what he did with a former Dragon King and Azazel during his training. The people around him suddenly got quiet. Is everyone alright? He asked them but none responded. Pain starts to shoot in his head, his right hand shaking, making him drop his plate. He holds his head and closes his eyes. Everything fades around him, he didn't notice it at first, and then forces himself to open his eyes to look around. Empty and white, these were the only words he said to describe the place. His heart pounds heavily. Eyes changing to black with red slits, his teeth sharpens and scales appears on him. He felt like someone is forcing him to transform into his dragon side. I've been waiting for this for a very long time, Hyoudou Issei, a man with short black hair, clad in a tattered black cloak said. Who the hell are you? How rude. Didn't they tell you to respect those older than you? And I'm sure you have an idea to who I am. Issei scowled at him. Let me ask you something, why did you sacrifice half of your body? Issei didn't answer. Tell me, is it because you've realized you don't have enough power? For what? Tell me Hyoudou. He still kept his mouth shut. Are you perhaps afraid of dying? Or seeing your loved ones die in front of you? Or do you just want nothing but to dominate? The last one was what the guy obviously wanted. Several images starts to flash around Issei. A friend of his back at the countryside was slaughtered because of him, he wasn't able to do anything but tremble in fear. He fell on his knees, eyes casted down, and all he can see is red. Then the image of his grandparents almost dying because of fallen angels struck him. It was his breaking point, it made him realize that he's so weak, vulnerable and useless. He made the decision to sacrifice half of his body to Drake because he doesn't want to feel those again. I almost lost him, Issei's whole body shakes in terror. That's right, you almost did. Do you want that to happen again? No, right? The man walks closer to Issei and extends his right hand. I will help you, I can offer you more power than what you have now. No one will die if you join me, your family, friends, and everyone else you care about, all of them will be safe and sound. This is a trap, yet I want to accept. If I have more power, but you and the others will be safe, I can protect them. Think about it, Hyoudou. No, if I accept then the efforts of those who helped me get this far will be for nothing. Are you gonna accept or what? I'm getting tired here. No. He muttered. Pardon? I said. No, he slapped the outstretched hand away and quickly rose to his feet. Then I'll just have to take over you by force. The past host's body starts to change. He threw his cloak away and showed his dragonified upper body. Protruding black horns appears along with a pair of dragon wings, and his eyes turned all bloody red. Since Issei was already dragonified, all he did was call forth for his boosted gear. Boost. Azazel told me that he's actually weak despite the things I'm seeing, considering this is my mind, I can do what I want. Hyoudou the unnamed host charges at him. He dodged it with his godlike speed, making his opponent look like in slow motion. Boost. He continued to dodge every attack thrown at him while boosting. This is the end explosion, he releases the stored power. He swiftly went near and concentrates his demonic and draconic energy, and then, fires a huge beam. It was too late for the guy to even turn around, he was completely annihilated. Good thing that's over with and I believe this took too much of my time. He laid down on the floor and took a breather and closed his eyes once again. It felt like an hour to him when he was able to open his eyes, he was back in his room. He thought Azazel and Graphia will be there, but he's alone. Where are they? It was still a bit hard walking, so he stretched first before going outside his room. When he finally got out, he went to the kitchen to make something to munch on. He sat down on a stool and started eating. In the middle of his meal he heard voices outside. Where is Urzichus? A voice he recognized asked. He got curious and walked a bit and saw two figures. Azazel and Grafia-san. Issei is with the Phoenix family. When is he coming back? I need to talk to him. He knows I don't like waiting, and Issei is going to wake up soon. He said he will be back tonight. He wants to talk to Zyodaka-sama about Lady Ria's engagement party. Well, he should have. But Issei accidentally dropped his sandwich. The two cautiously looked around for the cause of the noise and saw Issei walking towards them. The food has been forgotten. Poor sandwichy. Issei, glad you're awake. He just looked at them with hardened gaze. I would like to know something. He stopped for a moment, repeatedly clenching and unclenching his fists. Who is she getting married to? Riser Phoenix. That chicken bastard. Does she even love him? Azazel almost laughed out loud when he heard the given name. Well, Grafia maintained a neutral face, but if you take a closer look, you can see the end of her lips twitch. When did she get engaged? Is she here? Why didn't she call for me? She promised. Can someone please tell me that this is just all a freaking dream? Issei, calm down and please, one question at a time. The governor's face turned stern. He did what he was told and took deep breaths. Good, now why don't we talk inside? Grafia and I will help you digest everything in. Wait, what? Issei's mouth agape with incredulity. You heard Grafia, they fought Riser in a raiding game and lost. Is that why I couldn't find you guys the other day? Grafia nodded. They told him everything that happened while he was training. This time, Issei managed to suppress his anger. When is the engagement party again? Tomorrow. Are we thinking what you're thinking? Azazel asked with a sly grin. You're going to crash the party, are you not? Oh, how cute, you guys do know me. Well, Azazel laughed. Grafia heaved a sigh. Issei-sama actually want me to give a message. He said, if you want to take my sister back, raid the place. Exact words from him. Really? I didn't expect that. I'm off. Then Issei gave them a peace sign and was about to go. Wait, Azazel called out to him. Where are you even going? I'm going to find myself a suit for tomorrow. I gotta look cool for her, am I right? Let me help you with that, Grafia offered. Is it really okay? I don't want to be a bother. It's my pleasure, now we must go. She pulled Issei to a magic circle and just left Azazel there, still sitting on the couch. Seriously? He yelled out to no one and soon followed. It didn't take them a long time to find Issei something that fits him. Thanks for everything, Grafia-san. He bowed. The mighty queen said it was nothing and left to check on other things. Azazel also left after giving Issei a tip on how to defeat an immortal bird. It's supposed to be an engagement party, but this looks more like a wedding dress. Ria's huffs in frustration while looking at herself in the mirror. You're exactly right, her fiancé appeared. Riser-sama, you can't. This area is off limits to men. The maids tries to reason that he's not allowed there, but he still continued walking towards Ria's. You maids shouldn't be so rigid. I just want to see my bride, who is the star of the night. I'm not the bride just yet. What is up with this dress? It's perfect, it'll show everyone the bonding between the Gremory and Phoenix households. Riser placed an arm around her shoulder and pulls her closer. His hot breath hovers near her left ear. Don't worry, your dress for the actual wedding will be on a whole different level. It will be the most gorgeous dress. He finally pulled away and left, letting Ria sigh in relief in the inside. As expected of someone from such a pretentious household, she took one final look at the mirror, before also leaving the room with the maids right behind her. Ria's attendants are all wearing a formal attire, Akeno is wearing a traditional kimono. Kaneko in a pink A-line dress while Asia in a blue cocktail dress and Kiba is wearing a black tux. Then the student council president approaches them. President Sona. Kiba greeted. The result aside, the match was quite impressive. And clearly above everyone's expectations. Thank you for the compliment, but no need to be so considerate. We don't believe it's over yet. Akeno gave Sona a smile, then turned to the others who have the same knowing smile. They clearly know that something entertaining is going to happen. Their attention was redirected to Riser Phoenix who have just arrived. Famed nobles of the demon world, the Phoenix family is honored by your attendance tonight. We invited you all to share the historic moment in which I, Riser Phoenix, and the heiress apparent of the Gremory family, Ria's Gremory, formally announce our intent to marry one another. Without further ado, let me introduce my empress, Ria's Gremory. There was a bright Simpson magic circle that materialized beside Riser. The crimson-haired beauty appeared with a sad gleam in her blue-green eyes and a fake smile. The huge doors to the banquet hall unexpectedly burst open, revealing the newcomer named Hyoudou Issei. Sporting a black dress shirt with its top button undone, a fine silver-gray suit jacket, vest and matching pants, and his black combat boots. Looking so sharp and high class. I'm not late, am I? He just casually walks in with his hands in his pocket. How dare you break in? Seize him, Riser exclaimed in anger. The guests of the party moved away as guards starts to surround Issei one by one. Ladies, why don't we join in? Kiba summoned his sword and charges ahead, along with Kaneko's brute force, Asia's use of magic and Akeno's lightning, successfully taking down every guard. You're finally here, Issei. What took you so long? You're late, Issei-senpai, Kaneko said. Domin, I really thought I was on time, he apologized. More guards flooded the room. Issei-kun, let us handle these guys. Oh Issei-san. Issei became slightly teary-eyed because of the 4 people he calls friends. Thank you, everyone. The guards' attention turned to them, leaving Issei free. What the hell is going on? This is a little entertainment I prepared, Riser-kun. The former heir to the Gremory clan, the Satan Lucifer and leader of the 4 great Satans spoke. Surziches-sama, what do you mean by entertain? Riser halted when Surziches rose his hand. The raiding game was very interesting to watch, however, against my sister who was inexperienced and had half the pieces, it was a bit he trailed off. You have complaints about the fight? Not at all, the raiding game itself would become meaningless if I did. Not to mention, the circumstances involved, my old family would be dishonored. Ani-sama, Surziches looked at Izumoto. I wanted something flashy for my little sister's engagement party. I wanted to see for myself the power of a dragon, so I had Graphia make arrangements. Ah, I see. Dragon versus Phoenix. Wielders of 2 legendary powers squaring off would make the party exciting, wouldn't it? The Satan Lucifer turned to the boosted gear wielder. Would you like to show me and the high-class nobles your power? Issei, don't Rias pleads, but Issei only gave her a reassuring smile. You'll be my last flame before I settle down as a married man, Dragon Boy. The 2 of them went to the battlefield, a floating arena. I believe I haven't formally introduced myself. I am Hyoudou Issei, Ria's Gremory-sama's pawn. And I'm sure you know who I am, Riser said arrogantly. Before we start, what do you want as a reward for winning, Issei? Surziches asked, his face popping up using a holographic image. Surziches-sama, no need to reward a mere low-class demon, but he is a demon, nonetheless. So what do you desire, nobility? Beautiful women. You may choose anything. The only thing he wants is the president. I want Ria's Gremory-sama, give her back. The mentioned girl looked at him with an indescribable expression and multiple thoughts swirling inside her head. Then, begin. Issei summoned forth his sacred gear. I shall end your worthless existence. I can't let you do that. I told her I will be the strongest pawn, and I have no intentions of going back on my word. The 2 green jewels of the boosted gear starts to shine as he lifts his left arm in the air. Welsh Dragon Balance Breaker. Red dragon armor with green jewels covers his entire body and has retractable dragon wings. Balance breaker, boosted gear scale male. The forbidden move. The spectators were so surprised. Issei's speed and strength doubles. He lunged forward, propelling himself using his wings and punched Riser across the jaw. Damned annoying brat. Riser rose to his feet and uses his flames for flight. Issei boosted a couple of times before concentrating his demonic energy, then fires it at Riser, who barely had any time to evade it. Riser comes flying to strike at Issei. He just lets him, the punch didn't even make a dent in his armor. Riser once again flies toward Issei with his whole body covered in his hellfire and swings a punch. Issei just stayed still, following the punch as a kick, then Riser lands a few consecutive blows, this time Issei staggers a little. This is our clan's gallant hellfire of the phoenix, take it and incinerate. The large phoenix of hellfire manifested and collided with Issei. When the smoke cleared, Issei used Drake's flames as a barrier. What? Issei is suddenly engulfed in red light, he then appears behind Riser and overwhelms him. When Riser tries to retaliate with an attack of his own, Issei suddenly disappeared and then kicks him from another side. Riser just keeps on regenerating every time Issei hits him. Is that all you've got? I am immortal. Riser laughs like an idiot. Oh that's right, I forgot you can regenerate, Issei said nonchalantly. Everyone sweat dropped at his response except for Riser, who took this as an insult. Is Issei-san always like this? Sona turned to Issei's fellow peerage members. He can be an idiot sometimes, Kaneko replied. Agreed, the rest said simultaneously. Issei, what are you planning to do? Rias thought. The spectators were once again surprised when Riser suddenly howled in agonizing pain. You bastard, what the FCK did you do? Riser screamed while his precious face burns. Being drenched in holy water stopped his regeneration ability and caused him a lot of damage. But you, please give me permission to use promotion bishop. Mode change, Welsh blaster bishop boost. 2 cannons forms at Issei's back. Don't you understand that this marriage is important to the future of the demon race? A kid like you who doesn't know anything shouldn't interfere. I don't care about that complicated stuff. You not only mocked my comrades, but you also harassed the president. These are enough reasons for me to beat you up. Issei applies the enormous amount of magical energy to the 2 cannons. Dragon Blaster. Riser thought he was going to die, but Surziches grabbed him by the collar and teleported away from the battlefield. The attack was capable of killing Riser, and it briefly warped space-time. The match is over, Surziches announced. He instantly smiled when he saw his Izumoto going to the Red Dragon Emperor. Issei, he turned around and saw their president. He immediately removed his armor. She tackled him into an embrace. They're so close that Issei could smell the sweet fragrance wafting around her. You're not leaving again, right? Because I won't let you, she said, then buries her face on Issei's chest. Don't worry, but you. I won't leave even if there comes a time that you will want me to. He returned the affection, glad that everything is back to normal. They broke apart when the other members of the occult research club joined them, including Sona and Tsubaki. Issei-kun, why don't you escort the president back? Kiba said, holding onto the reins of a griffin. Whoa, can you? Riaz asked with a blush adorning her cheeks. Issei playfully bowed. As you wish, milady. He helped her settle on the saddle and soon followed. We'll be waiting in the club room. Then they took off. In the midst of their flight, Riaz placed a hand on Issei's cheek. You're an idiot, you made me worry so much. I really thought you weren't going to come. I won't let anyone take you. If you're going to get married, it should be with the one you love, not with someone your family decided for you. This time it may have been cancelled, but another engagement proposal can come in at any time. She looked down, eyes are starting to tear up. Issei held the reins with one of his hands, he then wrapped an arm around her waist and pulled her closer. I'll come save you, no matter how many times. I am Riaz Gremory's pawn, after all. He rested his forehead gently against hers and closed his eyes. Thank you, Issei. His heart flutters by her soft voice. Before he can withdraw, he was pulled into a kiss. Her warm lips on his, he hardly had time to react properly. It was soft, full of passion, comforting in its own ways. His heart began to pound heavily every passing second and face slightly heating up. The moment she thought of giving him a kiss, she expected fireworks and the endless fluttering in her chest, but it was so much more. It was like the world around them ceased to exist. Issei pulled away and took in the heavenly sight before him. There is no word spoken after, just the presence of the other is enough for the both of them. Chapter 9. Kiba's Dilemma. The Hyoudou residence was originally a normal two-story terrace house with a balcony on the second floor and a brown roof. What happened to my house? Right after spending their time in the clubroom, they all decided to go home. Issei was confused when all of them started walking together. The others ignored his dramatic reaction and came in ahead and settled in the living room. It turned into a large 6-story house with 3 large basements, and all floors in the renovated house are accessible via an elevator. Issei blinked several times, enough to steady himself out of his stupor. So I can assume that every one of you are living here? They all nodded their heads simultaneously. It was a bit shocking at first, but he soon accepted it. It's not like he can do anything about it now. Issei-kun, your room is on the 2nd floor, next to mine, Kiba said, standing from his seat. Where exactly? Kiba gave him a tour and it wasn't long before they ended it and went to their respective rooms. How can I possibly sleep here? This room is too big. He motionlessly stared at the ceiling, eyes wide awake with no sign of drowsiness. For an hour at least. Pondering about his encounter with a childhood friend, 2 hooded figures sauntered into Kuo's only church. This place is a mess. I heard that there was a disturbance here recently caused by a fallen angel and a devil. Are you sure we are supposed to be meeting here? She pulled down her hood, revealing short blue hair with a dyed green fringe. Her companion also did the same. There is no way I'd be wrong. I spent time here with my parents as a child. She took out a picture, showing 2 kids sitting together, a boy with brown hair and a girl with chestnut hair. Issei felt something heavy and soft clinging onto his left arm. He cracked an eye open and saw beautiful crimson hair. Ubu butchu, he stuttered out. Oh hey Issei, I'm sorry if woke you up. And not at all, may I ask why you are naked? I can't sleep unless I'm naked, hope it doesn't bother you. I am a man. You know, he averted his eyes from her. Then does that make you want to come at me? She slowly traces her finger on his chest with a matching sultry voice. Her other hand caresses his cheek, she then went close to his ear and lightly nibbled on it. Issei's whole body turned stiff and felt all the blood rush to his head, and images of naked Riaz repeatedly flashes through his mind. Issei, you're bleeding. Issei brought a hand to his nose in attempts to stop it. Riaz quickly stood up to get a paper towel and gently wiped the blood trailing down his chin. I guess that was too much, Riaz thought. A lot of students greeted them when they first stepped foot. The occult research club was away for a club trip, but students were oblivious as to why Issei was gone for almost a month. Well then, let's begin our regular meeting. They are all present except for Akeno, that came back later with the student council president and vice president. Akeno, you're late, Riaz said. It's because I brought some guests. She gestured for the 2 to come in. Please excuse us. They said they had something urgent to discuss with our president. Yes, Riaz. Would you come with me to my house right now? No one will be able to intrude there. It sounds like a very complicated situation. Yes, very. It sounded so urgent, but her face looked so calm. Riaz nodded her head and dismissed them, letting them go home first. I haven't been here in a long time, Riaz said while loosening the hold on her towel. Riaz and Sona often came to the latter's sauna to tell each other secrets. The space is directly connected to Sona's stronghold. So if the place is closed, no one can enter. This morning, 2 people from the church contacted me. What did they want? Riaz, they came to speak with you. People from the church want to speak to a devil. What kind of joke is that? It seems like it's going to be a nuisance. Sona removed her glasses and wiped it clean from the fog, then spoke again. I accepted their request. After school tomorrow, they will be visiting your clubroom. However, what bothered me was the two who contacted me were carrying holy swords. After their talk, Riaz and Akeno went home immediately, holding another meeting. Thank you for agreeing to speak with us, my name is Zenovia. I'm Shido Rina, and it's good to see you again, Issei. Issei showed a sheepish grin, nervous of how the others looked at him excluding Kiba, who knows the reason, but that doesn't mean he's going to trust Issei's friend. Yeah, same here. Riaz sharply turned to Issei. You know her? Yeah, she was the one who gave me some holy water for my fight with Riser. Thanks again by the way. I see, back to the topic. I wonder why followers of God would want to meet with a devil. Zenovia tightened her grip on the sword she's holding. Out of the 6 swords with known whereabouts, the church still has 3 of them, the other half was stolen by fallen angels. This is the holy sword of destruction, Excalibur Destruction. And the one I have here, the holy sword of mimicry, Excalibur Mimic. Kiba's glare intensified at the 2 church followers. Well, what would you like us to do? The problem at hand is between the fallen angels and us, we don't need the devils in this town to intervene. Is that an accusation? Are you saying that we'll side with the fallens and do something about the holy swords? Riaz asked, looking at Zenovia with such intensity that made Irina fidget in her seat a little. For a devil, a holy sword is a detestable thing. Don't your interests match up with the fallen angels? At this point, Riaz is slightly emitting a dark aura. The president is getting angry. A sudden chill ran down Issei's spine. If that is true, then we will completely annihilate you. Even if you are the great devil's little sister. Riaz laughed inwardly. If you know that already, then let me tell you this, there is no way I'd ever join with the Fallens. I would never do anything to tarnish the name of the House of Gremory or the Great Devil. Zenovia abruptly stood up, along with Irina, who gave Issei and the others an apologetic smile. It's enough just to hear that. Since you're here, would you two like some tea? No thanks, we're not here to make friends with a devil. They were about to walk away when blonde hair and green eyes caught Zenovia's attention. Are you Asia Argento? Oh, yes. Irina tugged on her partner's sleeve. Let's go, Zenovia. We have somewhere else to be. It's obvious that the followers of God isn't fond of devils, but Irina made Issei an exception, since they're childhood friends, and doesn't want to make a scene, especially at the territory of the devils. I didn't think I would meet a witch in a place like this, she ignored Irina's words. I heard you were banished because you could heal fallen angels and devils, but I didn't know you'd become a devil. Asia trembles from where she stands, the only thing she could do is look down in shame. You am I. Zenovia Irina tried again, seeing that it's getting late already. But for someone who had been called a saint to be a devil, there is no use saving someone like you. You shut up. Issei went in front of Asia in a protective stance. Do you still believe in our God? Zenovia, she became a devil. No, there are some who remains faithful, she seems like one of them. Asia stared at the ground with wide eyes, slowly tearing up by the blue-haired's words. I just can't give it up, because I had always believed in God. Zenovia stepped forward. Then you should let yourself be executed by us right now. Even if you're sinful, our God will reach out his hand in forgiveness. Why you? Before Issei can do anything drastic, their president intervened. Do you mind stopping there? I do not appreciate you looking down on my servant. I wasn't looking down on her. As a believer, it's natural to feel pity. Stop messing around. You're the ones who put her up on a pedestal as a saint. Asia was always alone. Asia gripped Issei's shirt, stopping him from taking another step towards Zenovia. A saint can live with the love of God alone. I don't care about faith or God, but if you lay a finger on her, I'll fight all of you. Oh, is that a challenge to the whole church? You're pretty stupid, devil. Zenovia readied herself to remove the cloth covering the Excalibur. That is enough. If you are only here to cause trouble, I suggest you leave now. Riaz demanded to the two. It's clear that Zenovia doesn't want to, but Irina pulled her towards the door. Sorry for the inconvenience, Irina said, then both left. The blonde ex-nun embraced Issei by the back. They stayed like that for a while before she pulled away. Let's retire for the day, their president stated. They all went home together except for Kiba, who went the other way. You guys go ahead, I have something to buy, Issei reasoned. He followed Kiba and saw him walking aimlessly with his head hung low. Kiba, he didn't turn around, but he did stop. What's wrong? I'm worried about you. I mean, we're all worried, you know. Ever since Irina and Zenovia came, you've been acting strange. You do not have to concern yourself in my business. If you're worried about something, talk to me about it. Aren't we best friends? You were the one that said that, right? Best friends, huh? But I remembered something basic. Something basic. My reason for living, the reason I'm fighting. Aren't you fighting for the president? I know. There was a moment of hesitation present. I'm living for revenge, to destroy the holy sword, Excalibur. That's my reason. Kiba then dashed away. Issei felt like he needed to give him space, so he did. He didn't bother going after the blonde and just turned to the direction to his home. Holy swords are the worst weapons against devils. Just touching one burns a devil's body, and to be cut by one means death. But its biggest weakness is the lack of wielders. Right after dinner, Issei went to the crimson-haired's room to ask about his fellow comrade. Wait, so you mean Kiba is one of those kids that were raised to wield one? Yes, that's the Holy Sword Project. Riaz told him that the project completely failed with Kiba as the sole survivor. By the way, she started to say. Yes. Who's that chestnut-haired girl to you? She gave him a rather disturbing smile. Irina is just a childhood friend. Really? She went closer to him. Yes, there's nothing going on between us, just friends. That's good. Is but you jealous? He was about to voice his question but decided against it. The way the president looked at him is scary enough to keep him quiet and let things be for now. Rain continues to pour, it's already past midnight, and yet Kiba is wandering the quiet and wet streets with revenge in mind. Riaz and the others also kept popping in his head, making him frustrated. Beginning to contemplate his reasons. I'm sorry, everyone, but I'm not supposed to be having fun. I don't deserve that, he muttered under his breath. Help me, an old-looking priest stumbled in front of Kiba, trying to get up but slipped. Don't run away now, Fried Selzen, the priest that he and the others fought back at the church. Fried used his sword and sliced the old priest in half, spilling blood everywhere. Well, would you look at that, it's been a while, hasn't it? I was wondering who you are, looks like it's the pretty boy of the devil scum. Fried, you were still hiding in this town. Such a wonderful reunion, bringing tears to my eyes. Kiba summoned his sword and aimed it at the priest. Unfortunately, my mood worsened just by seeing you. That's fine by me. His own sword starts to glow. That light, that aura, it can't be. Let's have a little test of strength, now shall we? It's either your cursed sword scum or this holy sword, Excalibur. I will not forgive Excalibur. Kiba quickly raises his sword, clashing it with Fried's. Fried manages to push Kiba back with the impact of their collision. Kiba once again charges at Fried, delivering a slash which the latter deflects. Your pretty face is getting twisted. Are you trying to become a more suitable prey for the holy sword? Be my guest. Holy Eraser. Kiba's demonic sword created multiple appendages that stretched out to absorb the light from the Excalibur, but was rendered useless. Too bad. I was just testing to see if it's real or not, now I can tear you apart without reserve. Both continues to exchange blows, their attacks becomes heavier and faster every strike. Kiba was caught off guard when Fried suddenly took out his gun and fired. He used the opening to slash at Kiba. He cries in agony by the damage inflicted on him by a holy sword on his right shoulder. That's payback for what you did last time. Because of the excruciating pain from his right shoulder, Kiba couldn't hold his sword with his right and opted for his left, swinging his sword to Fried with a slightly sluggish stance, but was able to injure the priest due to being taken back. Fried was about to retaliate when someone called him through his transceiver. Oh, someone's calling me, let's continue this another time, devil scum. He fished out a small ball from his pocket and threw it on the ground that blinded Kiba. Kiba clicked his tongue in annoyance and glared at the spot where Fried used to be. Chapter 10. Kakabiel starts. It has been a few days since they have seen Kiba again, but he came back with no intention of staying. Hyoudou, I won't let you leave me. You are a knight of the House of Gremory. Kiba made up his mind, intent on seeking revenge for his fallen comrades, those who died with regrets. President, I'm sorry. He completely turned away and left, leaving the rest to worry more. Hyoudou Riaz felt like it's part of her fault. Did I make a mistake? The president dismissed everyone and quickly left the room, not wanting for the others to see her face, yet they all caught a glimpse. The Kendo followed their president. It was heartbreaking to see their president like that and for their knight to leave because of revenge. I'm worried about Hyoudou-senpai, Kaneko blurted out. Actually me too, and I want to try and help him somehow, Issei said, adjusting the hold on his bag. Asia and Kaneko agreed. The next day, Issei called a friend to help them. The two met when the Citri household introduced themselves to the new members of Ria's peerage. Issei, a guy with short blonde hair and grey eyes, greeted him. Sorry for calling you out here, Saji. Don't worry about it. Well. Saji took a seat beside Issei. The two decided to meet at the back of the old school building where students rarely go to. Help me destroy the Excaliburs. He said it like it was the easiest thing to do. Are you insane? Kaichu will punish us. Please help me out here. The two that the church sent said that they would rather destroy the swords rather than let the Fallens use them, but this could get us killed. Maybe, maybe not. We need the church to cooperate with us, then we can have a higher chance of succeeding. Even if I agree, I don't think they will just do what you say, though. We'll never know if we won't try. The stronger we are, the better. Saji heaved a sigh and slowly nodded his head. The two walked around town in ridiculing the thought of seeing Zenobia and Irina, but they didn't expect two hooded figures asking for alms from passers. Since Irina got scammed and they don't have anyone from the church to turn to, they decided that it would be better if they just ask for money instead of stealing. Delicious Irina, the food in this country is delicious. The two hungrily scarfed down every food in the menu free of charge. It's amazing to watch them eat, Saji whispered to Issei. I guess they were really hungry. It took a while for them to finish and for Issei's money to go elsewhere. We've sold our souls to the devil. Lord, please have mercy on these kind devils, Irina prayed while Zenobia sat quietly, seemingly in deep thoughts. The two devils held their head in pain. We don't need God's blessings. Oops, I'm sorry. I just did that out of habit. She sticked her tongue out playfully, not really sorry. The pain finally subsided and then Zenobia spoke. Why did you contact us? She firmly grasped her glass of water. We want to help destroy Excalibur. Zenobia turned to Irina, silently communicating. We don't mind letting you guys take care of one sword. I thought you would refuse in a heartbeat, Saji exclaimed. The other side even has the leader of the fallen angels, Kakabiel, with them. Issei flinched when he heard a leader of the fallen's name. He remembered Azazel mentioned him back then. Honestly, it will be difficult for us to recover all 3 swords on our own, Zenobia said. All of them went to find Kiba. Issei used his enhanced senses to track him, making it easy for them. They saw him in the woods, training. The way Kiba looked at them with such hostility made them wary. Wait, they're not here to fight. We came up with a cooperative strategy, Issei said, shielding the two. I can understand why you would resent the Holy Sword project. The person behind it was branded as a heretic and excommunicated. Valper Galilei. Tiba scowled. Valper the man was the one responsible for. It's not uncommon for there to be collusion among those banned from the church. It's also possible that Valper is involved in the events here. After hearing that, there's no reason for me not to cooperate with you. Then it has been decided. We'll return the favor for the food someday. Red Dragon Emperor Zenobia and Irina disappeared without a trace. That went great. Issei then called out to the petite girl hiding, Kaneko-san. She came into view. I was just passing by. I doubt that Issei and Saji both thought. I want you guys to stay away from this matter. This is my personal revenge. I can't involve you 3. We're friends, aren't we? You're not wrong. Then how can we let a precious friend turn into a stray? It's not just us, but the president will be sad. Tiba muttered their president's name with regret. That's right, I met her because of the Holy Sword project. Tiba told them the story, his days being involved with experiments and his freedom being taken away just like the rest of his comrades. The experiment was a failure resulting to death of every kid, disposing them in order to conceal what had happened. Everyone believed they can get out someday, asking God for help, but none of them were saved except for him. He managed to run away. He was at death's door when President Riaz found him. I thank the president from my heart for taking me in as part of her house. However, I was able to run away because of my comrades. That's why I have to destroy the Excalibur with a devil sword filled with their feelings. That is my atonement and duty as the only survivor. His story made Saji cry buckets. Tiba, I had no idea you had such a tragic past. He then turned to Issei. I'll help with all my strength. Oh really? Thanks, Saji. Kaneko grabbed the end of Kiba's shirt and said, I will also help. I will be sad if you aren't with us. It made him feel warm when they decided to help him. Then let me accept your help. He placed a hand on Kaneko's head and gently patted it. The other two gave him a grin, brighter than the setting sun. Where are you two going? Riaz asked her one and only pawn and rook. Issei, Kaneko and Saji planned to meet up with the rest. But we were just going to take a walk, right Kaneko-san? Kaneko nodded. Oh really? In the middle of the night? Riaz obviously knows what they're up to. Yes, you two aren't going anywhere. Issei was about to protest when Sona arrived with Tsubaki and a guilty Saji who's holding his right cheek. Sona and I suspected you 3 when we saw you all together, so we also have Akeno and Tsubaki watch the 2 from the church. Riaz said, if these goes on any further, your actions might affect the devil world. I'll have to discipline you 2 later, but for now we must go. Riaz made a move to go. Riaz, familiar along with Akeno's, saw Irina lying on the ground with cuts and bruises and immediately told them. I teleported there and was surprised to see a large crater with a chestnut-haired girl in it. Irina. Issei rushed towards her with Asia close behind. Irina, what happened? Where are Kiba and Zenobia? She was barely conscious when she answered. The other 2G got away. Then she passed out. The damage is pretty bad, isn't it? Sona said, turning to Asia. Why yes, Twilight healing can't recover consumed stamina. There is equipment to treat her at my house. Tsubaki. Hi. The vice president took Irina in her arms and effortlessly carried her, teleporting away. They all suddenly have a bad feeling. Well looky here, you took the bait and are all gathered now, huh? Fried Selson. How are you all, devil scums? Both presidents stood in front of everyone, readying themselves for an attack. Whoa, wait a sec, someone wants to talk to that red-haired lady over there. Who? My boss. He made such a twisted face and pointed a finger up. The man with long black hair and red eyes, has pointy ears and possesses 5 pairs of black wings. Nice to meet you, daughter of the House of Gremory. My name is Kakabiel. Good evening, leader of the angels who fell. I am Riaz Gremory, glad to make your acquaintance. Your crimson hair is beautiful. You look like your brother, the scarlet-haired devil king Serziches. Why did you contact me? I thought if I stole the Excaliburs then wreak havoc, Michael would come after me. But all I got were some small fry exorcist and 2 lowly holy sword users. How disappointing. Then, your goal from the beginning was to start a war. That's right. After the 3-way war ended, I was so bored. Azazel and Shemhazai were being passive about the next war, too. Fallen angels, God and devils, they are barely in a state of equilibrium, then I can just start a war with my own hands. You're a complete war maniac. So what? Lucifer's Amaudo and Leviathan's Amaudo. There must be a lot of power hanging over the school you two attend. I will start there. It will be a great war zone. Isn't my boss great? I'm getting caught in a two. Fried showed his collection of holy swords. Of course, they're all in hyper state, ready to be used. Let's have a war, sister of Devil King Surzich's Lucifer. Ria's Gremory. When he said that, he created a large light spear and demolished the mountain. The explosion caused a strong wind blast, making everyone stagger back. The Kabiel flew away with Fried following behind towards Kuo Academy. Sona's peerage created a barrier around the school. She said that if nothing drastic happens, the barrier should be able to keep anything outside from getting damaged. Riaz, it's not too late to contact your brother now. I don't see you contacting your big sister, she shot back. Surzich's Sama would definitely come to help you. I know, but Bekeno abruptly piped in and said that she already contacted Surzich's, much to Ria's chagrin. Bekeno, why did you contact him on your own? But I understand that you don't want to be a bother to Surzich's Sama, but the enemy is a leader class fallen angel. Riaz sighed and shrugged her shoulders. Thanks for your understanding, but he will arrive in an hour. 1 hour, huh? Chapter 11. Pray for two. Riaz and her peerage excluding Kiba went inside the new school building, using it as a way for them to get to the fields where Kakabiel is hovering over, watching Valper Galilei. The Surzich's coming or is Serafal. We are here in their place, Riaz said to the bored fallen angel. The little diversion can't hurt. With a flick of his fingers multiple three-headed dogs of hell appeared. Issei discarded his blazer and was left in his white shirt. Scales starts to make an appearance on his body along with his horns and the boosted gear. Boost 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 boost. He swiftly went beside Riaz and gave her power transfer. Riaz silently thanked him. He did the same with Kaneko and Akeno, making him a bit busy, while also defending Asia and himself with one of the Cerberus. They all quickly defeated them all, surprising Kakabiel with their enhanced powers from the Red Dragon Emperor. Then the golden beam of light shot straight to the night sky, indicating that the process to combine the collected Excaliburs is complete. You should all run away from here. This town will be destroyed in less than 20 minutes. Valper turned to them with a victorious smile. As if on cue, Kiba arrived with Zenobia. Both looked at Issei. Hey, don't look at me like that. I'm sorry if we didn't meet up with you guys, but the president saw this coming and stopped us. Hearing his explanation didn't really take away their frustration. Valper Galilei, I'm a survivor of the Holy Sword Project, or more accurately those you killed. Kiba's expression darkened. I heard one of the subjects had gotten away. You subjects did not have enough of the gene to use the holy swords. Knowing that, I was able to conclude that all I had to do was take out the gene from the subjects, then we succeeded by crystallizing them. He took a crystal from his pocket and raised it into the air. When a holy sword user receives the blessing, a crystal is put into their bodies. After excommunicating me as a pagan, they shamelessly used my research. You all were nothing but materials used in a top secret project. Once we were done, there was nothing left to do but dispose of you. Kiba firmly clenched his fist, making his knuckles turn white. We believed it was for God and bore it the whole time. We were project materials to be disposed of. It was like he's about to break down from all of the terrible information, Valper said. If you want it, here. Valper threw the last remaining crystal in front of Kiba. We've already gotten to the point where we can mass produce higher quality ones. The blonde survivor bended down on one knee and took the crystal in his hands and gently grasped it. I'll never forgive you, you bastard. Valper only laughed at this. How many lives did you toy with for the sake of your own research and desires? He asked in a quiet voice, slowly standing up as the crystal shines brightly. The souls of his fallen comrades one by one appeared behind him. They all took a step closer to him and spoke simultaneously. Our hearts will always be one. That's when his tears finally fell down as he sadly smiles. The scene made the occult research club's heart warm. The night is peaked, Drake said out of the blue, catching their attention. When the user's thoughts and wishes go against the natural course of things in the world, the sacred treasure peaks. That's the balance breaker. My comrades didn't want to wish for revenge. That's not what they wanted, but I felt like I had to defeat the evil in front of me. He summoned his sword, then Fried went in front of Valper. Eat those bastards, Kiba Issei yelled out to him. The others soon followed, saying their own words of encouragement. Just listening makes my skin crawl. I need to hurry up and cut you all to pieces so I can feel better. Use the power of the four swords to get rid of these guys. You got it. Fried gave a salute to Valper. Before Fried can attack Kiba, a strong wave of aura surrounded the latter. I will become a sword, my comrades whose souls have merged with mine. Let's overcome this together. Our thoughts and wishes can now be accomplished. I will become a sword for the president and for my friends. Sword birth. He raised his sword high into the air. Holy and devil powers merged onto the sword. Sword of betrayer. Holy and devil powers fused together. That's impossible. Zenobia went beside Kiba. Ria's Gremory's knight, are we still on the same page? That's what I'd like to think. At this point, even though it's a holy sword, it isn't holy any longer. Zenobia began chanting the names of saints, asking to hear her prayers. Then a golden magic circle materialized beside her. A broadsword with a blue blade and a golden edge wrapped in chains came into view. Holy sword Durandal. A sword on par with Excalibur and can cut everything in this world. Infinitely dangerous, that's needed to be in another space. Both Zenobia and Kiba charged at him. Due to the use of the fused four holy swords, Fried was fast enough to evade their assault and created another of himself using the power of Excalibur Nightmare. Here I go too, Freed said. He used Excalibur Transparency and made his sword invisible, making it a little hard for Kiba and Zenobia. Zenobia got the fake one and immediately dispatched him. She turned to Kiba and shared a nod. They simultaneously attacked Freed. The impact of their assault made Freed hit his head hard and broke the fused holy sword, shattering it into pieces. Valper was about to make a run when he was suddenly hit by a light spear from Kakabiel. I'm bored from all of the diversions. What do you want, Kakabiel? I want some entertainment, Ria's Gremory. Why don't you show me what you got while waiting for your dear brother of a scum? Issei's eyes widened by his words. There's no way he'll let the president fight him alone. But you. She placed a finger on his lips, successfully stopping him from saying another word. We don't have much time. Then let me fight for you. Kakabiel heard him and piqued his interest. Are you perhaps saying you can take me on, Sekiryuite? Issei boosted without anyone's knowledge. That is an extremely interesting offer, but I will have to decline for now. I would be more intrigued if it's Ria's Gremory. Show me what you got. Kakabiel once battled Surzich's Lucifer, and he even almost died. After knowing he has a little sister, he wanted to see her power and take her life as a revenge. Riaz clicked her tongue and swiftly held onto Issei's right hand. I will defeat him. Azazel watched from a distance along with a man as strong as the Red Dragon Emperor. Don't interfere, Vali. Why not? I think it will be fun for a change. Issei won't like it if you go there. Vali just shrugged his shoulders, not really caring. That's the point, I want to see him explode in anger, then I can enjoy a serious fight with him. The fallen angel heaved a heavy sigh and began walking away, no point in convincing him. Issei's boosted gear glowed a bright green. Boosted gear, gift, he whispered under his breath. The sensation of power surging through Riaz greatly surprised her. Thank you, Issei. She gave him a small smile. The red magic circle appeared under her, hair swaying in every direction and being enveloped with a mix of crimson and green. Those waves of power are great, Riaz Gremory. You've been blessed with power that's as good as your brother's. Maybe I won't kill you if you impress me. She closed her eyes for a moment, opening them after concentrating the power given to her. Begone. Her power of destruction in the shape of the Eastern Dragon went straight to Kakabiel, letting out a roar like it's real. Very interesting, Imauto of Surzich's. He was able to protect himself with only slight burns and darted towards Riaz. He used the feathers of his wings as projectiles. Issei rushed in front of Riaz and shielded her using his dragon wings. I don't appreciate you trying to kill Butchu. He scowled at the fallen and snaked his arms around Riaz and took her away as fast as possible from the fallen. When she was far away from the battlefield, Issei coated his right fist in flames and aimed for Kakabiel, sending him staggering back, then followed by another. For such a low-ranking devil, you're very interesting. The blue light from above destroyed the barrier around the school and descended slowly with his wings wide open. Is he really that interesting? He questioned. The vanishing dragon. Kakabiel and the others are bewildered by his appearance before them. Vali, don't get in my way, Issei yelled. The tone and volume of his voice made the others flinch. The white one ignored him and went for Kakabiel, striking him from behind. Your wings are like a filthy crow's. You bastard, what are you trying to do? Kakabiel coughed out blood and winced when he touched his back where a pair of his wings used to be. Someone who has fallen lower than the ground doesn't need why. He didn't get to finish his sentence when Issei attacked him from above, making him crash down on the ground. Vali's armor momentarily deactivated. Did I not make myself clear, Vali? I don't take orders from someone like you. Welsh Dragon Balance Breaker. Both charged towards one another, forgetting Kakabiel. Vali have the power of Issei, but the latter only boosted in a continuous pace. Then they clashed together using hand-to-hand combat. Kakabiel finally moved from his place and created a light spear larger than the Kuo Academy. Vali didn't seem pleased by this and instantaneously halved his power and reduced its size by a large margin. Don't get in our way. Issei rammed straight to Kakabiel, sending him flying to the gym. When they were about to go at it again, Azazel showed himself between them. That's enough. If you two continue this any further, you're going to destroy this place and endanger them. He points to Riaz and the others. They didn't have a choice but to stop when Albion and Drake also spoke up. Let's meet again, Drake. Yes, let's, Albion. Azazel told Vali to take Kakabiel and Freed with them. Until we meet again, my arch-rival. Sona and her peerage walked to where her rival is. I can't believe the white dragon burst in like that. But the town was saved thanks to the red and white dragon, Riaz stated, catching them by surprise. Then they fought one another. So that's why this place is such a mess than what we anticipated. Well then, Tsubaki, we need to repair the damage to the school as soon as possible. She turned to her vice president. Riaz offered help, but Sona politely declined, saying that it's their job as part of the student council. Issei deactivated his scale mail and went to where Kiba is. You did it, Kiba. He held his fist in front of the blonde. Kiba let out a chuckle and fist bumped with Issei. Thanks. You don't need to thank me. Issei turned the other way. We'll always be here for you. We're friends, aren't we? Correction, that's best friends to you, Issei-kun. Both shared a brotherly hug, breaking it as Riaz went to them with Akeno, Asia and Kaneko following behind. I'm glad you came back, and for you to use Balance Breaker as your master, I am very proud. Kiba quickly kneeled. But you, I betrayed the club members and above all, I betrayed you, who once saved my life. There's no way I can make up for that. But you came back and that's enough, you can't let everyone's feelings go to waste. He gritted his teeth. But I vow again. I Hyoudou, promise to protect you and your companions as a knight of the House of Gremory for the rest of my life. As he ended his vow, Riaz also kneeled in front of him and embraced him. Thank you, Hyoudou. Riaz then stood up, readying herself for their punishment. Could that be? This is your punishment for moving on your own, 1,000 spankings, she said with an innocent smile. Ha 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 ha, good luck with that, Issei laughed out loud. Ria's brows twitched and pinched Issei's right cheek. Don't think you won't get a spanking too, Issei. The two of you will be sharing. Haneko intervened and said that she's also at fault and their president only gave her one spank. Now raise your bottoms, boys. We're sorry, Bichao. Chapter 12. Set them free. It's been a while since Kakabiel's attack, Azazel imprisoned him in unbreakable ice, and one night at the occult research clubroom, Surzich's Lucifer visited them. Ani-sama, why have you come? Don't tell me you don't know. Ria's face of confusion turned to one of horror. Why you can't mean? Surzich's internally smirked at Izumoto's reaction. I would love to see my beloved Izumoto busy in her studies, he said with such a happy face. When Ria's heard his response, she turned to the wife of Satan. Grafia told you, didn't she? Don't worry, little Ria, she blushed at the nickname. The others were obviously trying to suppress their laughs. You're a Satan, you shouldn't be leaving your work for such a thing, she stated, remembering what happened before and souring her mood more. I'm not, I would like to host a conference for the three factions here. This greatly surprised everyone. Kuo Academy. Yes, and before we forget, I would like to stay at your place. Who are they to reject a direct request from a powerful Satan, and coincidentally, Issei's parents are also staying at his new house for a few days, surely making their night more awkward than it is. Why did we even let him stay here? Riaz let out a heavy sigh, leaning more against the couch. I'm sure it's going to be fine, Issei said that, but he's not really sure about it himself. Mr. Hyoudou quickly took a liking to Surzich's, and they drank beer for an hour or two, excluding Mrs. Hyoudou and Grafia. Issei slumped in his seat and hung his head in shame. You look like you're ready to die, Issei-kun. Biba chuckled beside him. There were only the two of them sitting in the dining room, while the girls went to Ria's room to have girl talk. It's just that, it's embarrassing to see them be like that with the Satan. Biba sweat dropped. Well, it's not like they know that. Kiba stood up and beckoned for Issei to follow him to the indoor bath and relax there for the time being. When it was time for bed, Surzich's asked if he could stay in Issei's room for the night, not escaping Ria's and the rest of his comrades' ears. Ria's was the only one brave enough to go to Issei's room. Ani-sama, Issei and I always sleep in the same bed. Surzich's didn't seem fazed and said, I promise it will only be for tonight. What Ria said made Issei quite nervous. I really thought he'll get mad when he heard we always slept in the same bed. While still in his thoughts, the crimson-haired beauty engulfed him in a hug. But you. Riaz gave him an irresistible look, with her eyes tearing up a little and lips quivering slightly. Away, he internally screamed, becoming stiff like a board. It lasted for half a minute when Grafia came. Let's go, miss. She turned to her brother one last time, seeing that he isn't going to change his mind anytime now, she gave up. Alright, gee, good night everyone. Good night. But you. Riaz huffed and ignored him because he didn't even protest against her brother, making Surzich's laugh at his sister's mood swings. The two turned the lights off and went to bed. I'm sorry for making you sleep on the floor, Surzich's sama. Issei felt awful. It's fine, after all, no one in my world treats me like a normal guest. I find more comfort here, even if the place is also luxurious than average, it feels somewhat cozy. I'm glad then, and I also wanted to thank you, Issei. For what? For taking care of Riaz, please do continue. Of course I will. He abruptly sat up, Surzich's also did the same. I mean, I'm Riaz Gremory's faithful pawn. Thank you, he said, looking straight into Issei's eyes with such sincerity. Their conversation stopped there, seeing that it's already so late. Issei woke up so early and decided to prepare breakfast for everyone and did his morning routine. He left a note at the dining table and went to school, making his way to the back of the old school building to catch some sleep. He was lying on the soft grass covering the ground for like an hour when little sunlight peeked from the shade of the tree, waking him from his slumber. He looked at his watch and saw that he's just in time for class. When he arrived, there were already some parents including his with their camera ready. This is so embarrassing. He took a seat at his usual place. The whole room quieted down when their English teacher came with a box and distributed paper match to every student. In today's English class, you'll get to use the paper match and make anything you want, animals, houses, people, anything goes. Everyone began working except for him. It's a little unnerving with my parents here, recording Asia and I, he thought. Partner, hurry with the art, you're going to be left behind. He sighed. Drake does have a point. I'm supposed to make whatever comes to mind, right? He closed his eyes and the first thing that came to mind was the president. He let his hands and imagination do the work. He was really into it when their teacher called his name. Yes. His eyes snapped open and noticed everyone looking at his direction. Isn't that Ria's sama? Yeah, it looks so like her. Some crowded around him and began asking him to sell it to them, and there's no way he'll do that. The paper match turned to what he exactly imagined it would be. The president adorned a beautiful smile, One of her hands tucked in a strand of crimson hair behind her ear, while the other is beside her. It looked like the wind blew softly with how her hair is. The image still stuck in his mind. It was when she opened a window of the clubroom, looking outside. He was laying down as he looked at her. I wanted to protect her, not because of some contract. So elegant and dignified, with her crimson hair waving beautifully in the air. There's only one that I admire. They were all given a break after that, and as soon as they were dismissed, he immediately left the room with Asia, and along the way saw Kiba. Are you going to give it to her? Asia asked. I plan to. Maybe that'll ease her bitterness. Wait, what do you mean? Oh right, you left early, you didn't see the way she was when she read the note. I believe she's upset that you left without telling her. Good luck, Issei-san. Asia innocently gave him a smile while Kiba placed a hat on his shoulder. Braid laughed loudly in his mind, making him more irritated. He rushed to where her scent led him and stopped in his tracks for a moment, confusing the two blondes. Before they could even ask, he started walking again and hid the sculpture behind him. Butchu Akeno-san, he called out. The two directed their attention to them and smiled, but the president instantly changed her expression into an annoyed one. Abi Butchu, here revealed the gift, surprising her greatly by the gesture. Thank you, Issei. She took it from his hands gently and looked at it, very inquisitive about the details. How romantic. Kiba and Asia also made teasing remarks about the two of them, before they were interrupted by the loud voices of a group of photographers. We must record this into our lenses, one yelled. They all got curious and went to the gymnasium. While walking there, Issei and Riaz walked behind everyone else, the latter clung to his left arm. She thanked him again for the sculpture, putting it in her pocket space. She slightly tugged on Issei, successfully halting him. He looked at her questioningly and didn't expect what she did next. She tiptoed and brought her face near his and placed her soft moist lips on his flushed left cheek. Then she giggled to herself and left the stunned Issei, running to Akeno and the two blondes. When he finally reached the gymnasium, he saw Saji besides a woman in cosplay, scolding everyone taking pictures. The crowd immediately dispersed. Are you related to any of the students here? You can't also come to this school in that outfit. When she was about to say something, the student council president barged in. What's going on here? I saw a lot of students rush out here, she said with a hand on her hip. Well, Kaichu, you see. I spy Sona, the magical girl said and darted to her beloved Amato. Your face is all red. Sona only looked at her with zero interest yet flush. The older sister glumped Sona, effectively making her feel weak and redder than before. That's Issei Leviathan, one of the four overlords, and Sona's older sister Riaz introduced to Asia and Issei, who haven't met her. It took a while for Sona to break the embrace and compassed herself and looked at Riaz, seemingly asking for help. Riaz got the message and went to them. It's been a while, Lady Serafal, she greeted. Oh hey, Riaz, you doing okay? Thanks to your efforts, yes. Are you here to observe Sona in class? Serafal pouted and said. Sona's awful eye was so hurt. Then she began saying things about how Sona didn't inform her, and she brought up the incident about Kakabiel. She got distracted once again when she saw Issei. Riaz, is that the rumored drag host? She nodded and called Issei. Introduce yourself, Issei. Pleased to meet you, I'm Riaz Gremory Sama's pawn, Hyoudou Issei. He bowed respectfully. Pleased to meet you too, I'm Serafal Leviathan, an overlord. Call me Leviathan, okay? She did magical girl Milky's pose. Hi. Sona couldn't take any more of what her sister is doing and left the gymnasium. Wait, Sona. Saji turned to Issei. I should go and back the president up, see you later, Issei. He jogged away. Saji's got it rough too. It hurts to say, but every one of the four great overlords is like this. After all of their classes, they all met up at the assembly hall. The Towson. He caught sight of his father in his peripheral vision with someone that has crimson hair. The three parents also saw them. So this is where you were, Riaz. Her father, named Zeoticus, waved at her. They went to where the parents are and greeted them. Mr. and Mrs. Hyoudou, who is looking for their son, bumped into Riaz's father. They continued their chat at the new house and had a party. Both Issei's parents, Zeoticus and Serzich's, drank some beer and showed the footages they recorded during their child's classes, embarrassing the two further. This is an unprecedented hell, Riaz said with a dejected look. Her peerage decided to cheer their president up, trying to ease her uneasiness. It worked for a while, but then she heard another embarrassing remark from her father and brother about their observation during class. She heaved a sigh and stood up from her seat. Thank you all for the effort, I'll be retiring for the night. She gave them an obvious fake smile. They decided to give her some time alone and gave Issei the go signal when it has been a while since their president left. Riaz didn't really go to her room yet, she just sat down on the cold floor of the hallway in the second floor. When she heard footsteps, she completely ignored it, but she was puzzled to see Issei. Would you like to go to my room? He offered, also lending a hand to hoist her up, which she gladly took and walked to his room hand in hand. She plopped on his bed, face down. The silence between them irked Issei, so he started to make some small talk. I think our parents meeting and getting all friendly isn't a bad thing. I know, her voice muffled by the pillow. She sat upright and turned her attention towards the floor, slightly fidgeting by his gaze. Are you glad that you met me? She finally asked the question that has been bugging her. Issei sat beside her and swiftly took both of her hands in his. Of course, I'm happy, don't ever think that I'm not, you became such a very important person to me. He whispered the last part under his breath, hoping that Riaz didn't hear it, but she actually did, making her face red. She couldn't contain the happiness she felt when she heard him and kissed him. It was short but sweet. Issei stared at her mesmerizing eyes, and so did she, closing the gap between one another once more, but their moment together was interrupted by the light suddenly turned on. Seems like we interrupted something, Akeno said with such a smug look. Pardon the intrusion. Asia blushed profusely by what she saw, feeling a little jealous by their closeness. Well, what are you guys doing here anyway? Issei asked. Surzich's-sama wanted to speak to Butchu. Riaz immediately stood up from the bed, thanking the others for informing her, and gave Issei one last smile before going to her brother. She soon found her brother alone in the living room, no glass or plate of food in sight. Ani-sama, you wanted to speak with me? Ah yes, little Ria. He motioned for her to sit beside him. She did and asked. About what? I was informed by Michael that a holy sword wielder with him wants to be on your peerage. She looked at him incredulously. Archangel Michael. Yes, they will be at Kuo Academy tomorrow for the conference, and also, don't you think it's time for you to set your other bishop free? The other bishop of the president was locked up in one of the rooms in the old school building, with a powerful seal on it, because their abilities were deemed too powerful for her to handle. With Ria's display of strategies and power during the raiding game with Riser, and how she and her peerage fought off Kakabiel, Surzich's came to a conclusion that her sister is capable of handling the sealed bishop. Your peerage has grown and so has its strength in battle, set them free, Riaz. She felt a little overwhelmed by his remarks. As you wish, Overlord Lucifer. Chapter 13. First Year Vampire. The official conference will be held a couple days from now, giving Riaz time to sort out her predicament with a hikikomori, a person who avoids social contact. All of them stood in front of a room with yellow caution tape over the doors and thick chains wrapped around the handle. The seal breaks late at night and he's allowed to roam around in this building. However, he refuses to do so. Akeno told Issei and Asia that even though he never leaves his room, he still makes the most money and has the most contract out of all of them, making special contracts via the internet. Riaz took a step closer and broke the seal. I'm opening the door. They were met by a very dark room and soft whimpers coming from the corner. Good evening, Gasper, Riaz greeted. What's going on? Your seal has been broken, but I want to stay here. An androgynous-looking male said. Hair is styled in short bob cut with several small fringes over his forehead, and he has pointed ears. He may look like a girl, but he's actually a boy. His name is Gasper. Vladi. Riaz went to his shaking form and embraced him. Gasper, let's go outside, okay? He placed his head on her shoulder, immersing himself to the comforting warmth. No. She tried standing up but he didn't let go. Nothing's going to happen, we'll just go to the clubroom, can we? Gasper gave in and nodded his head. They all went back with Gasper still holding on to Ria's hand while she explained for the benefit of Issei and Asia. Forbidden Valor View, it's his sacred gear, dubbed the evil eye of the inert world. He can stop anything in his sights for a period of time, because he can't properly control his powers yet. Surzich's-sama decreed that he be sealed in that room. She glanced at the fidgety blonde. It also turns out that the power naturally refines itself over time, giving it the potential to be a balance breaker. When she was done talking, Gasper tugged on her hand and said, I don't want you to talk about me, I don't want attention. I'm just explaining to them your situation. I'm done now so you don't have to worry. He lunged at her, wrapping his arms around her like a small child. But you, it's almost time, Akeno stated from beside her. I see, Akeno and I will be attending the preliminary meeting for the leaders' conference, Hyoudou. Yes, but you? Ani-sama would like to know more about your balance breaker, come with me. Well, the rest of you will stay and train Gasper. Yes, but you, they said simultaneously. Riaz turned to Gasper and told him that she'll be gone for a while. He didn't seem pleased, but he understood the situation, so he let her go. The remaining four sweat-dropped as they witnessed Gasper locked himself in a cardboard box as soon as the other three left. Get out of the box, Gasper. Issei kicked the box with minimal force. I can live inside this box. He tried convincing him to go out, but nothing was enough, so he didn't have a choice but to carry the box so they can go outside the old school building. Kaneko-san and Asia-san, I'll leave Gasper to you two for a few minutes, I just need to make a quick call. When Issei received a response from them, he left going behind some tree. After a few minutes, he came back and was met by an odd scene. Kaneko managed to make Gasper come out using garlic, which he made to everyone clear that he hates them, and Kaneko enjoys every bit of their chazzing game. There you are, Occult Research Club. Saji popped out. Hey, Saji, what brings you here? I heard about your hikikomori peerage member, she's pretty cute. Asia tried not to laugh, not wanting to appear rude to the student council member. He's a cross-dressing boy. When Saji heard Issei, he dramatically fell on the ground. There's no way this can be happening. The newcomer broke Saji's reverie. Hello, Issei, Azazel greeted. Thanks for coming, Azazel. Issei bowed as he thanks him. Did you just say, Azazel? Saji and everyone else was dumbfounded except for Issei, the one who called him on the phone earlier. Eyes, calm down. Azazel is here to help us, I was the one who called him here. Everyone relaxed hearing his reason. Forbidden valor view, sacred herd like that are extremely dangerous if the user is too weak, he turned to Saji. And you must be the wielder of Vritra's power, one of the 5 dragon kings. You can connect the black dragon pulse to the vampire and absorb his power as he uses his sacred gear. The prison dragon or evil dragon king can absorb or negate whatever power it touches. There is also a quicker way if you want to help the vampire, drink the blood of the Hyoudou. Gasper immediately refused to drink blood, since he also hates it and runs away again. But back here, Gasper, we need to at least try. Issei successfully captured the vampire and brought him to the gym, with everyone else following. They took the basket of volleyballs and made Gasper stand in front of Issei with absorption lines snaked around his left wrist. When Issei threw a ball at him, he disappeared. Kaneko was quick on her feet and knew where Gasper was escaping through and caught him. Saji, could you absorb a little more? Thanks a lot for the help. No problem, I'm benefiting in this too. The blonde said with a grin and did his job. They kept it going with the help of everyone except for the leader of Folens and Grigori, who kept laughing at everything he found funny on their training with the vampire. Well, I had fun but I need to go. See ya, Issei. Azazel bid the Hyoudou goodbye and was gone in a blink of an eye. Little progress was made, but there is still a day left to accomplish their task. Saji also left after and offered his help if Issei needs it. Riaz went to the balcony of her room, she's so lost in her own thoughts, and didn't notice a figure standing besides her. But you, they called. She hastily turned to see Issei. Oh, I didn't notice you, how long have you been here? She asked. Not too long ago, I was surprised that you didn't hear me knock on your door. Issei, I want to tell you something, it's about Gasper. He nodded his head for her to continue and gave her his undivided attention. There's a reason why Gasper is who he is now, his father is a renowned vampire, but his mother is a human. Vampires value pure blood more than devils do, he was shunned by his own family, and the humans called him a monster. His ability to stop time frightened others, they loathed him and avoided him. Gasper was the same as Asia, Issei said. I don't think I deserve to be a king. There she goes doubting her capabilities as the king of her peerage, and Issei wouldn't accept this, she's the reason why he's alive. But you are Riaz Gremory, you deserve to be king, our king. You have every qualities to be one, not only are you great but also very caring, that'll do anything she can for her servants. Leave the rest to me. Issei, her eyes becomes glossy and lips quivering, she turned around immediately, not wanting for him to see her crying again. He let out a chuckle, placed both of his hands on her shoulder and spun her around, so now she's facing him. He cupped both of her cheek and used his thumbs to wipe the tears away. But it won't stop, she sobbed and buried her face on his chest. I'll always be with you, but you, he thought with a smile. The next day, Issei's mind was nowhere near the class's discussion, he was just sitting there with his eyes closed, thinking deeply. When all of his class ended, he took his sweet time before going to Gasper's room, readying himself for some emotional episode with his junior. He knocked on the door twice and received an obvious sound of surprise. Gasper, I won't leave here until you come out, he said with determination evident in his voice. He received no response after that, it was slowly getting dark as minutes passes by. Hey, are you scared of us and your sacred gear? He placed both his hands on behind his head as he casually leans on the door. I have a dangerous power of a dragon in me, and every time I use it, I get scared as well, but I never hesitate to move on. That power could take your precious things from you, why do you still use it? Gasper quietly asked from the other side. I always use it because I don't want to see the president cry. When you have conquered your fears, life becomes limitless. If I'm with you guys, I'm just going to hold you all back. He peeked carefully from behind the door. You're my important underclassman, I'll help you in any way I can. Senpai, let's help and protect everyone. If you're scared, I'll beat the crap out of them. But, to be honest, I'm jealous of your power. Who wouldn't want to stop time? Really? It's freaking cool in my opinion. Gasper raised his head, his eyes filled with admiration to his senpai. You're very nice, senpai. Nobody has ever told me that they envied my powers, I only thought that they hated it. You idiot, the vampire looked at him in bewilderment. These sacred gears were bestowed upon us, if we can't escape our destiny, we can't just sulk and hope for everything to pass. I think I'm a little confident now, Issei senpai. They went to the gym again and practiced his powers, he's still a little scared, but progress has been made. Issei's glad that Gasper is also trying to socialize with the other members, but with a paper bag on his head. He was against it at first, but he couldn't do anything yet to convince Gasper to discard it. And tomorrow is the awaited conference. Let me know in the comments below if you guys want the next part. Also check out my other video that has been shown and left. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share this video. And have a fantastic day. Bye.